Today, we are digging into an incredibly tangled story of internal chaos and some pretty wild conspiracy allegations swirling around the conservative group Turning Point USA. According to the source material we're looking at, this whole thing kicks off after what's described as the symbolic assassination of its founder, Charlie Kirk. And from there, the whole narrative just unravels, calling into question the organization's very foundation and hinting that maybe nothing is quite what it seems. And yeah, that quote you just saw, that is just one of several, let's call them bizarrely named PR operations that our source claims were launched. This really just sets the stage for a story that is anything but simple. We're talking claims of coordinated attacks, leaked audio, and hidden connections that are meant to completely flip the script on how you see Turning Point USA. So that's the big question, right? That's what our source material really tries to answer. What follows is a deep dive into a series of claims that paint a picture of an organization in total turmoil, dealing with a power vacuum and a past that might not be what we've all been told. So let's start piecing this puzzle together. Okay, so this story, as our source tells it, really catches fire in the chaotic weeks right after Charlie Kirk's symbolic death. And right at the heart of it all is Candace Owens, a well-known conservative commentator. She claims that almost immediately she became the target of a really hostile and frankly, kind of clumsy PR campaign that was designed to completely discredit her. The names of these campaigns are, well, there's something else, aren't they? The source describes them as part of this panicked, super well-funded, but surprisingly amateur effort. I mean, think about it. You've got everything from questioning Kirk's faith to just mocking Owens for talking about her dreams. The claim here is that these weren't just random internet trolls. This was a coordinated campaign with a very clear, very aggressive agenda. And the source points a finger at one person in particular, supposedly the guy pulling the strings behind these attacks, Andrew Kovacs. He's described as a major player in Turning Point's PR world. He's basically presented as the architect of this whole thing, directly linking all that weird online activity to the organization's inner circle. Okay, so now we get to what is presented as a huge piece of evidence in the story, a leaked corporate-wide Zoom call. According to the source, this call was led by Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, just 11 days after his death. And honestly, it's the tone of the call that became this major point of controversy. When you look at this timeline, it really hits you how fast everything happened. We're talking less than 2 weeks after the assassination, and just 48 hours after the funeral, this call is happening. The source argues that this timing is exactly what makes the call's surprisingly upbeat mood feel so jarring. And here's a direct quote from that leaked audio. The way she phrases that, saying she's not trying to be morbid about her husband's recent violent death, is what the source highlights as just disturbingly casual, almost emotionally disconnected from how serious the situation was. And this wasn't just a one-off thing. According to the source, they really emphasized this point over and over. You have employees who are probably grieving, but the call was supposedly focused on metrics, fundraising numbers, future plans, all of it delivered with this cheerful, energetic vibe that felt completely out of place after such a huge tragedy. And this quote, this is really the one that seems to capture the heart of what the source found so deeply unsettling. The idea of being excited so soon after your spouse's death, even if you frame it in religious terms, is presented as the moment that really solidified this feeling that something was just really off inside the organization. And just when you think you know where this is going, boom, the narrative takes a hard left turn. The investigation pivots to a whole series of claims connecting Erica Kirk to a place called Fort Huachuca, a major U.S. Army intelligence base down in Arizona. The source suggests this is a hidden link to the military intelligence community. So what's the big link? Well, the main piece of evidence for this alleged connection is this unreleased short film project from back around 2010 called November Renaissance. The key thing here is that Erica Kirk starred in it, and according to the source, this film is the smoking gun connecting her past to people associated with that intelligence base. So let's break this down. The source gets really specific here, laying out all the alleged ties of the cast and crew. You can see it on the slide. The director worked in defense marketing, one actor trained at Fort Huachuca, others had family members stationed right there. By naming names, the source is trying to turn this from just a theory into a tangible network of people. And if you're wondering, okay, but what's the movie even about? Well, get this.
The plot itself is presented as being super significant. It's all about corporate espionage and nanotechnology and using tech to create a false reality to keep the government in power. Our source sees this as a pretty eerie parallel to the larger conspiracy they believe they're uncovering.
All of this, the film, the military ties, it all leads the source to start questioning the very beginning of the story. They go back and do this critical re-examination of Turning Point USA's official origin story, suggesting it might have been a carefully crafted myth from day one. Okay, so check this out. The source presents two completely different narratives. On one side, you have the official story we've all heard. Spontaneous inspiration, a chance encounter. But then there's this alleged backstory that suggests there was a pre-existing relationship, and that the creation of both Charlie Kirk's public persona and the organization itself was much more deliberate and planned out. And just to add another pin to the conspiracy board, the source adds another layer to this alternative origin story. They link the gifted school Kirk went to not just to his donor's social circle, but, and here's the key, they bring it right back to the defense industry, pointing out that the school is right near a major contractor, Northrop Grumman. All right, so this is where it all comes together. In this final section, we're going to see how the source tries to pull all of these different threads, the PR attacks, that leaked call, the military connections, the origin story, into one single massive overarching theory. And this slide is where you can really see the web the source is trying to map out. They're connecting all these dots between huge religious institutions like Liberty University, that PR firm, the gifted school, and even top donors, suggesting that there's this vast, interconnected network secretly pulling all the strings behind the scenes. And this, right here, is the ultimate conclusion presented by the source. The idea that the internal fights, the weird behavior, the military ties, that none of it is a coincidence. Instead, it's all framed as evidence of a single, long-term, coordinated operation with a much bigger hidden agenda. Which leaves us with one pretty mind-bending question that the source poses at the end. The Truman Show analogy really wraps up the entire theory. Was this charismatic leader and his entire influential organization just a carefully managed project from the very beginning? It's a claim that challenges everything the public thought they knew, and it really leaves you wondering about that thin line between coincidence and conspiracy.